welcome to Signal Theory. I'm Bradford.
Hey, I'm Brian.
We are getting a new update from IK for the Tonex software. V2 is what they're calling it, and we're really excited about that. Anytime a company kind of like rolls forward a number, that means big things. So we're going to break down what you as a user of the pedal would be getting, what it means for people like us who create captures and content on it, and how what we get out of it will end up benefiting you as well.
We have capture packs available exclusively at this point through tone.net. Capture packs, at least at this point, of our 1994 Matchless C30. I made 70 captures of that with the V2 capture. We did all different cabs, that kind of thing, direct captures, all of that available at ToneNet. I did the Fender Alessandro Deluxe Reverb. That's going to be available at ToneNet. We'll put links below where all this is. Initially, this will be available at ToneNet and then ultimately through signaltheoryaudio.com as well. And the Vox 1964 AC30 Top Boost, the holy grail of Vox amplifiers, and captured that one through the 212, the stock, or I say stock, the original silver bell, they were stock speakers that came in that amp from 1964. They sound great, but I also captured that through some other speakers that I think sound really good with that amp. So you sort of get different flavors of that old Vox, and you get direct captures of all those as well. So all of that with the V2 capture tech is available at ToneNet. And then ultimately at signaltheoryaudio.com as well. So links will be below where you can get those. V2 is referring to the capture process. So the actual captures themselves made with the V2 process are more accurate. They're faster. So there's a bunch of benefits if you actually make captures. Talk about that in a bit. But if you just use the captures, they're going to be more accurate, the most accurate that they've been. And I think they're saying even more accurate than the advanced training from version 1. Mm-hmm. So the most accurate Tonex captures available. And we've said all along that we think Tonex is probably the units that we use, we think Tonex is the most accurate. I mean, the margin on these things is small, but
it is.
The best is getting better. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So
it's like going from 4K to 6K. It's like,
there you go. It means you can zoom in just a little further, Brad.
A little bit more. Get a
on
little
a 4K
more
timeline.
Hey, Brian,
what timeline are we living life in? That's the question.
Before we go any further, if this is the kind of content you are interested in, subscribe. We love modelers. We like demystifying the idea that analog is the only way. We love actual amps. We're surrounded by them, but we're trying to figure out a way to make them hold hand in hand, like technology and old school. If this is your kind of content, make sure you subscribe.
The headlines again, more accurate captures, and the other big headline is everything, all captures made with the V2 process are going to be phase aligned. So if you use dual Tonex pedals, we do that a lot. We play in church all the time. It's a thing. Stereo amps at the end of a huge. At the end of a huge pedal board. And it's just like using amps in the real world. Not every amp is phase aligned with every other amp, and depending on microphones that you use and preamps and everything.
Depending on the day,
yeah. So there's polarity and phase, and they're two like kind of separate but related. Anyway, in the past, using two Tonex pedals or Tonex ones, you've often had to either flip phase on one side at the board, or you've had to run with something like a DeSo from Pinstripe pedals that allows you to flip phase. No longer do you need to do that. everything is phase aligned, and that is V2 captures with V2 captures. So it doesn't mean V2 captures will be phase aligned with V1 captures necessarily, but if you download and use V2 or make V2 captures, they're always going to be in phase when you run them in stereo. If you make captures, the process is much more streamlined and much faster. They added something that we've all been wanting for a very long time, and that's batch processing. So if you capture your amps, and we realize not a lot of people capture amps, but Tonex allows you to capture pedals. And I don't know, let us know in the comments, have you used Tonex to capture things? And if not, we would encourage you try it, because if you have an overdrive pedal, Tonex can make a capture of it.
Yeah.
And so you can buy a Tonex 1 for how much do they cost now? Like $150, $180, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Under $200, and that can be any overdrive that you want. And you can set it to flip flop, so you can have it be your drive and then turn and flip to. So if you've got cool drive pedals, you can capture those. And the process is now more streamlined, much faster. So the capture file that it plays through, if you've never done it, it plays like guitar and bleeps and bloops type stuff through your gear.
Yeah.
And once it does that, that takes a couple minutes, and then it does what's called training. And so training is where it uses machine learning to actually create the tone model. And that is now much faster, and it'll set them in a queue. So this is for people who capture. That's why I'm going to run over it quick. It'll set it into a queue, and then it just runs in the background. So in the past, you've had to wait for it to finish. And if you're on Apple hardware, like a computer, the process has been very slow.
Yeah.
Advanced capture training on even the fastest Apple like laptop would have taken hours with V1.
Yeah.
We've tried.
The quality is better than advanced, and it takes like 20 minutes to do it. At least on my machine, I have
a high end. Yeah. Another big thing with the update is latency. So they've phase aligned everything in the new tone models, but it's lower latency as well. And we actually got a bit of information with this the release notes that we didn't know, and that is that the V1 captures have varying levels of latency. Bradford, you got the release notes, so why don't you read exactly what it says?
Yes.
And then we'll talk about the implication of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what a sample. I know what a sample means, but I don't know what it means. Like I don't know how to correlate.
I think it's a measurement of time.
Yeah. It says that V1 models had random latency, 10 to 50 samples, 10 to 50 samples, up to 1.13 milliseconds. I'm not a superhuman, but because our job is so much because our job revolves around listening so much, like latency becomes more obvious the more you're listening to things. Now it is going to be the same for all captures created with the V2 process, 16 samples or 0.36 milliseconds. So when you do the math of 1.13 to 0.36, I mean, that's like a fraction of that. And 1.13 milliseconds is already virtually imperceivable. But there's more. That doesn't just mean that like when you play it delays what you hear.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you could argue that 1.1 milliseconds is a human cannot perceive that. Some people are more sensitive to latency than others.
Yeah.
But the implication of it is when the latency, if there's two different values of latency on a stereo situation and you sum it to mono, like flipping phase is not going to fix that. You need to move it forward or back time-wise by however many samples to align it. So the best way to check whether something is in phase, if it's in stereo, is to sum it to mono and then flip phase. One setting should sound way bigger and fuller and the other is real thin. That's how you know thin, out of phase, big and full, in phase. Well,
almost virtually gone sometimes too. If you want a real easy way to understand this, load up two captures that are exactly the same. So from the same amp, the same like I just brought up the Clubman. Bring up the Clubman Capture 3. Bring up two instances of that, sum to mono or pan both up the middle, whichever, and then flip phase on one of them. And you'll notice that it virtually goes away, and that's how silent. That's what you're listening for. And so when you're trying to do two different amps, if you're trying to hear what's going on, then you'll be like, oh, I can tell like one is more full, one is not.
So there are situations where you have two amps and you sum them to mono, and it doesn't sound great. Like it loses high end, it loses low end. You flip phase, and it also doesn't sound great. There's also latency involved. So if these two Tonex captures or tone models are different levels of latency, then they're never gonna completely align. Yeah. And when you run stereo, it sounds fine. It's just when you go into mono and go sum to mono and listen to them. So with the V2 software or the V2 captures, though, all of that is moot. Everything is perfectly phase aligned and the latency is exactly the same. Now, one other thing, this is a random note. If you're setting these things up and trying to listen to them and you have a USB cable plugged into one of your Tonex pedals and not the other, plugging in USB introduces latency. So if you're checking these things, always make sure that both pedals are not plugged in via USB. Just to put this into perspective, sound travels at the speed of like roughly 1 millisecond per foot. I think if that's wrong, I'll subtitle myself. Basically what that means, if you stand 10 feet away, if you plug into a tube amp and you play your guitar and you're 10 feet away from it, there's 10 milliseconds of latency there. So this is orders of magnitude less. If you want to say you feel it and you want to go back to tube amps, well, you better put your ear right there. And then good luck to you after your hearing is completely destroyed. So let's talk real world experience, and Bradford has this because we did some captures of Matchless Chief 100 watt Chieftain basically, and the new Marshall 1959 Super Lead 100 watt, and I sent them to Bradford and I was like, tell me what you think of these things, because these amps are unbelievably awesome. And you used them live. Tell us these are V2 captures also, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, Brian, these need like we need to come up with a stereo pairing name, and internally for right now we're calling them the man amps because they're 100-watt amps. The hilarious thing is this is not a Tonex one. It's a canvas,
No.
a Walrus canvas line isolator. But like we're
It's the
talking
same
about
size though, right?
putting a 100-watt amp into something like this. Absolutely
Yeah.
hilarious. There are going to be some people, it's the internet, so absolutely guaranteed, shaking their head in shame that I use a Marshall 1959 mod at the edge of breakup so that I could run it in stereo with a 100-watt Chief and run lots of reverb and delay into it and use it only for a clean pedal platform.
Oh, but it's awesome. Yeah.
It is awesome. And you know what? It makes me happy. If running an actual Plexi cranked and losing your hearing makes you happy, go for it. So I gave them a shot. I'm going to be honest, though. This may be disappointing. They sound... I didn't notice, like, night and day difference. and that's not...
I can... Yeah.
So it's not to, like, poo-poo on what IK did at all.
No.
I think for us, I think the exciting thing is that we can crush through an amp way quicker, and we can offer more in a pack because we're not spending 2 days trying to get a pack ready. We can knock out like twice as much stuff. We can do more in 1 day than we could in 2. Like, so that's something. But the other thing, the little caveat that makes it like another kind of like, how could I really offer feedback kind of thing, is like, I mean, I don't know those amps super well at all. My experience, they've been at Brian's house, so I haven't even played the 59 live. The Chief, I've played a little bit. I should. Yeah. You're right. The Chief, I've played a little bit. The thing that I forgot was about the phase alignment. So I get there and I get set up, and I use a Pinstripes DSO for when I use Tonex, and the switches are real easy to hit while you're, traveling or setting up. Mm-hmm. And I was having issues I was like, why does this not sound right? And I noticed that the phase switch was turned up, so it swapped phase. It wasn't standard or whatever. And I adjusted it, and I was like, oh, cool, they're in phase. And then as I said that, I was like, yes, they are in phase because of the new...
Always.
So
everything.
It was nice to just plug in and go. That was nice. I think things sounded great. I mean, it's like, it really is kind of like looking at a 4K picture versus a 6K. You're like, something seems different, but like, it's not like it didn't look great to begin with.
Yeah, I've had some experience with V1 versus V2 captures as well, because I am the consummate tinkerer experimentalist here. So, of course, when we got this, I set up an experiment where I had just done captures of 2 amplifiers with V1. My Matchless C30, the 94 Matchless C30, and the REVV Generator 120. And I thought, this is perfect. I've got like a clean edge of breakup type of an amp, and then I've got a high gain amp, so I can like listen. And so I write down every setting that on the amp and mic placement, everything, always when I make a capture. So I made captures of the C30 and the Generator 120 literally days apart from the V1 versions, and then at the same settings, same mic, same speakers, everything, and listen back. One thing I noticed were in all cases, the V2 captures were a little bit louder. So louder, and this can be dangerous when you compare things, because louder always sounds better. Always. So you have to volume level things, gain staging. You have to make things level in volume before you compare them. So I went in and made presets in the tone model presets where I made them, the same level, volume-wise. And once I did that, it was really hard to hear a difference. Sean and I actually listened through the Generator because we had been capturing that one. And initially we were like, oh, V2 sounds better. But then I thought like, well, it's peaking a little louder on the meter, so let's level it. And then we were kind of like, yeah, they sound essentially the same. So we've said this throughout this video. It's like, these things are already, in many cases or in most cases, indistinguishable from the amp itself, right? Even the standard capture V1 that we do, indistinguishable from the amp itself when you go back to AB in the process. So now it's more accurate, but like, how more accurate can you be than the same?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what it also comes down to is like when you think about what you're using and what we're doing here, we're trying to get this pedal to give us the sound of the amp, the whole chain, the whole signal chain, microphones, preamps in that moment that it was captured. Where I think the most difference is going to be found is when you start altering what the capture sounds like, and that's going to be done by EQ tweaks, gain tweaks on the user's end. That's going to be different from when you throw drives, boosts, when you put effects onto it, modulation, delay, reverb. If you're going to run them into the front, if you're running it after, it's not really going to alter things. If you're going to do like a 4-cable style method with things. So I think it's coming down to when you, the user, start throwing stuff onto the capture to alter how it sounds. That is where the differences are going to be. And I do think we're getting better at making captures to begin with. And so it's hard to also label that. But I will say, like, despite me not thinking there was a night and day difference, which I'm kind of glad, like, like if I go and I plug in and things are ridiculously better, I'd be like, what have I been doing for the last 2 years or whatever? What have I been listening to? But I do think there was something. There was a little bit more like depth in the feel, but like I said, I was also using different amps, and I knew what I was listening for. I was listening to V2. I knew and so it's obviously biased, but at least in my opinion, it held up to. Because if they're going to say this and you plug it in and you don't think it's any better, well then like that's unfortunate. At least like my bias confirmed what they wrote in my mind, and we do think it sounds better.
So the question is, you've got all these V1 captures. Maybe you made them yourself. Maybe you bought them or downloaded them from ToneNet from other users. Bought them from us, Tone Factor, Tone Junkie, Tone Shepherd. These are all of our friends who also make these things. The V1 captures still sound just like the amp. That's sort of the point. I'm going to steal Bradford's line. You ready, Bradford? I'm taking
ready.
This from you.
Go for it.
But I'm giving you credit.
That's all right.
Just because the V2 captures are more accurate does not mean that the V1 captures are less accurate.
Yes.
They still sound exactly like the amp.
The V1 did not change, just V2 improved upon. Yes.
Yes. And improved upon in ways that might be difficult to nearly impossible for you to discern. Now, some people who are much more sensitive to it's not like everyone hears exactly the same. Same with the latency thing. Some people feel it, some people don't as much. But it is encouraging and a breath of fresh air, I guess, to know that Tonex is not just like, hey, we got this really great process, let's just roll with it. No, they're improving. Yeah. Or IK, I should say. They're improving upon the process, and that's what you want to see from companies. You want to see them constantly moving forward, improving. So kudos, IK. Thank you.
And it's free, so you should absolutely just upgrade. Now, I know the question, somebody's probably already typed it in before they finish the video. If that was you, it's okay. Just admit that you hadn't gotten to this point in the video when you left this comment.
Reply to your comment, yes.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Are you guys going to offer V2 for everything? Okay, well, first off, we have 100 some odd products. So
about 100 amps, that we've captured.
It'd be hard. However, we do want to do that. We have no timeline.
Yes.
We got to keep moving forward at the same time. We can't just constantly. So here's what we're doing, and here's what this means for you. This is a section we want to talk on. Anyways, Brian, what does it mean for the user? Well, in regards to what we creators get, it means we don't have to spend a whole week creating a dope capture pack of like an amp running through 4 cabs and doing direct. We could knock that out maybe in like 2 days. instead. You know, we got at some point what we offer as a product is definitely like the price that's put on there does involve equipment, but it also has to involve time. Like, so we can't do both. And so the cool thing about this update is means we can justify giving you more cab options. So as an end user, you can look forward to people like us being able to spend 2 days to give you the product that used to take us a week. So there's that. We will make an effort to update as many of our old capture packs as we can to V2. It's going to take some time. I mean, we may maybe one a month. I don't know. It depends. Brian listed earlier a few amps he's already got done. The 64 AC30, you did the Alessandro Deluxe Reverb, and then the Matchless SC30. Those are available. If you would like, if you haven't purchased those from us, those are available, and they have different cab options and direct. Have at it. If you have purchased those from us, we're trying to work out the most efficient way to do this. What we have decided and what we're going to do is you're at least going to get what you purchased upgraded. So if you purchased the C30, you got what? The C30 initially was just 3 channels.
Just
the three channels
and one
cab.
Through the one cab, one speaker option.
Then we're talking about the 94 C30 because we also have my HC30. That's a different thing. You will at least get those same captures that you already got upgraded to V2
updates.
Because the new packs are going to have more involved, and so that kind of thing. Just bear with us. This is like as we figure out how we're going to do this, but we did want because I know people are going to ask about that, and I totally get that because like I'm thinking like, man, I want to do a V2 of my Chimera. Like I want to do like so it'll come. Just know we're going to figure all that out. You know, check in with us, and we'll let you know because we still got to figure out based on the rollout we're getting, the info we're getting from IK as well. But we're going to do it.
Yeah. Yes, and then we're planning to. So, you know, with the C30, right? So initially it was like 14 captures. Now it's 70. So you get 4 cabs plus direct, and initially it was just 1 cab, right? So if you want the other 50 some captures, we're thinking through the best way to do this, but right now we're gonna hopefully be able to give you like a coupon code, like an upgrade price, to get the rest of the pack if you want it. And it's all going to be through signaltheoryaudio.com. Thank you again so much for watching. Links again are below where you can download. I'll just link to all of our Tonex stuff at signaltheoryaudio.com and what we have available on ToneNet, the V2 capture packs available on ToneNet. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Please.
Much more like this coming. And those comparison videos that I'm going to at least do one. Those are coming. V1 versus V2 capture.
Yeah.
So that'll be up on the channel very soon. Thank you, IK, for making something awesome. Thank you, Bradford, for hanging out with me, filming this video.
Brian. Thank you, Brian.
There you go. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.